so here we are. First tow, got her hooked up. Take a look out the rear view. You can see her right there. Got my backup camera down there on the back of the trailer because just found out that this surface is different than the one in the half-ton. This surface is rough and my suction cups won't stick to it, so I'm gonna have to do something with that. But otherwise, what I'm gonna do now is reset the fuel average. There we go. And we're gonna go to the vehicle info. All right, I got my moose antlers out and set up. They are kind of silly. I don't really like them. I now understand why most people drive with those up like that, because they're kind of weird when they're down under normal circumstances. But I do not have a dash cam in this truck yet, so the hell is that? Got a no signal from one of my tires. Now, it is possible that I have to change a battery. Alright, so I just changed all of the batteries in my tire pressure sensors because they're about a year. So anyway, what I was saying is I don't have a dash cam in here, so I'm probably not going to have a lot of driving video other than a few spots where I know that the road is either especially bumpy or there's an especially good hill. I just put it in tow haul mode and I put the automatic exhaust brake on rather than full because I don't want it trying to slow down every time I take my foot off the gas, because I try to use some momentum driving and just keep rolling. So, but this will at least use the exhaust brake when I am trying to slow down. So we're going to reset this again. There we go. And we're off. And my driveway is extremely bumpy. Alright, well, we'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright, something I noticed pretty much immediately, I've got the exhaust brake off right now, is I believe because of the weight of this tow vehicle now, the trailer brakes don't feel as effective. Because this truck is more than half again heavier than my half-ton. And I run the half-ton gain on the heavy electric at about 7, and I hardly use the truck brakes per se. The trailer brake pretty much stops everything. Now I've got the trailer brake up to 10, and I can just kind of feel it. And I think it's because this truck weighs, 3,500 pounds almost more than the old one. So the the brakes are absolutely working, but they don't feel as effective on the trailer. They're definitely there, but you don't quite feel it as much. So that's interesting. So far, this is pretty interesting. The truck definitely rides better with the trailer on it, because this thing is stiff as a milk truck, empty. And what I'm finding is there's not a hell of a lot of difference in the acceleration with 10,000 pound trailer on it versus when it's empty. This is my first diesel, so I really didn't know what to expect, but it's very different from an acceleration profile from a gas vehicle. I think because of the turbo lag. It's not quick, but it accelerates about the same with this trailer on it as without. You know, no real drama. It's all the temperatures are good, obviously. I mean, I'm barely taxing this thing. I'm going to try to keep the speeds through some of these areas about the same between this run and the other one. But, you know, just for comparison's sake, it rides pretty well, though. I mean, we've hit a few bad bumps, and I got a section up here in a couple of miles that's really bad. And I'm going to try to videotape that whole section just so I can put it side by side and show you the difference in how the trucks act, if there is a difference. But right now, no drama, as I expected. I have to say, so far the exhaust brake is pretty impressive. I only have it in auto mode, so it doesn't fully, every time it only comes on when you come off the brake. You can hear it a little bit there. But Mr. Log Truck ain't helping. Oh God. That's something you don't have to do every day. I like my rear view camera, though. It tells me nobody's back there, so I can safely back up. Normally these guys get paid by the load, so they're usually in a hurry. So we're going to get up to whatever speed we can behind him and just take this road as it goes, because there are some sections in here that throw the half ton around pretty darn good. tow haul mode in this thing is fantastic. It downshifts. That exhaust brake is really impressive, because that's a little bit of a hill. And God, once it downshifted, the exhaust, dude, just tap it, put the exhaust brake on, and she's slowing down. That's impressive. That's really good. I'm very happy. You can see how it downshifts to get the RPM up, and then it puts on the exhaust brake, and you just come to a halt. That's beautiful. But anyway, we're going to get on 61, and I'm going to go quite a ways north to a place where there is the only hill around here that does really anything to tax trucks. And then we're going to turn around and make a run back through it, take some dimensions so that we have something to compare it to. With the gas motor. So, unless there's something interesting, I'll see y'all in a bit. I have to say, so far, I'm impressed. Because once we got up to speed in these little rolling hills here, it just stays in 6th gear overdrive locked and rolls. It hasn't downshifted once. And I wasn't sure, again, what to expect. I figured it might be capable of that. But so far, so good. Reached Doloroso, Mississippi. We're on the top of the hill going down. Still, the hill doesn't look bad, but she's quite long, and it's got a pretty good elevation change. Probably one of the best views around, to be honest, because there really aren't many hills around here. But we're going to go down to the bottom and past the river. I think it's the Homachita River that has made this little valley. And then we're going to find a nice safe spot to turn around, and we're going to pull it on the way back. Currently, we're running about 188 on the coolant, 163 on the trans, 204 on the oil temperature, and a nice solid 51 psi on the oil pressure. It's been running good. No major issues. Look at that. Another big dog pulling a good-sized travel trailer. Looks like he's got a right front tire that's a little low on that trailer, though. That's a brand new trailer there. Got a temporary plate on it. Bridges are pretty rough. Okay, so we've gone a ways past and made our turn. Now we're just gonna set the cruise at 65, just like we've been doing, and head on back. over the river, this terrible bridge. Truck with the tractor on it in front of me didn't let me pass, and as I'm doing a fuel economy style run here, I'm just doing, you know, let the cruise stay at 65, and I'll bet we get them on the hill, but we'll see. There it is, the Dolorosa Hill. 197 on the coolant, 163 on the trans, 204 on the oil. Cruise control set at 65. There, that's that first downshift all day. Down into fifth. Just holding 65 nice and easy. Into sixth at the top. There's one more pull up. Coolant got up to 200, but it came right back down to 195. Trans 163, oil 206. Coolant's dropped to 190. That's interesting. So we're doing the other pull up the next little bump on it. Still in sixth. She is. One downshift, and then the second hill still stayed in sixth gear. Coolant 197, trans 163, oil 204. And that is the hill that made me put the oil cooler on the gas motor, because that hill would get the gas motor's oil temperature up to, granted it runs a little hotter than this does anyway, you know, the gas motor runs at about 215 normally. But that hill would, with this trailer behind the gas engine, would get the oil temperature up into the mid 240s, because that's a third to fourth gear screamer. And we'll do that another day, and we can do a comparison. So now we're going to get it on back home and see what our average fuel economy was. Okay, here's something that I found interesting. I'm going to just use the cruise control to slow down to 55 from 65 here. There. The truck actually applied the exhaust brake by itself to slow down, which I thought was neat. I never touched the brakes, we're still in cruise. I didn't know it did that. I found that out playing with it. But so far so good. Unfortunately not abnormal vehicles. roads. Dude. Did you even look to see what the hell's behind you? Anyways, we're just about home, and I'll figure out how many miles it was. Probably 130, 140 mile round trip, right at around 10 miles per gallon. But this truck now, after that 140 or so mile round trip, only has 365 miles on it. And according to the manual, unless you tow heavy with it, it can take over 6,000 miles to fully break in. So I'm happy with it. It rode like a dream and pulled that hill no problem. So I'm going to shut this off before I try to back it in, because that's just I'm probably going to screw that up. There we go. And we're back where we started. Truck ran like a top, trailer towed well like it always does. I think that is the correct spot for that hitch, and I'm pretty darn happy.